Mary, did you know your little child, Mary, did you know your little child will be the Son of God? The angel Gabriel, an archangel, one of the two archangels that are named in the Old Testament, the book that the Hebrews revere and look toward. The angel Gabriel was sent by God, according to Luke, sent by God. This is not random. This is God's plan. Gabriel, an archangel, carrying the messages for God to the people of the Lord who would listen. It's God's plan. It's laid out. It would happen. It would happen in Galilee. It would happen so that he would be called a Galilean. What does this tell you? God's plans are born from simple ideas. God's plan are born in places that are simple places, places where people live daily lives and don't call themselves high and mighty and don't think of themselves as being powerful. But God's plans are born from those simple ideas and those simple places. Nazareth is a simple place. In the Galilee, and you know about the Galilee, many of you have been to Israel. You know about the Galilee. The Galilee is that place of the breadbasket. Lots of stuff grows up there. They've got water. Yay. But Galilee is also a place from which rebellions come. Always fear the rebellions that come from the north and from the simple folks who can see clearly what is going on, even when those in power and might don't know what they're doing or what they're saying. This was going to happen in Nazareth so that Jesus might be called a Nazarene. And we might be able to play in our minds as the Hebrews play in their minds. Nazarene comes from Nazareth, but a Nazarite is similar to a Nazarene, and a Nazarite is one who is set apart for a particular plan, for a particular service, for a particular place. The archangel Gabriel comes to Mary, described for us as a young girl, betrothed. That is, the ketubah has been signed. You know about a ketubah? The ketubah is the contract that's signed among the families before a wedding takes place. The ketubah has been signed. It's right and proper. This is a right and proper thing that's going to happen. Joseph is the man, and he is of the house of David. What's important about being of the house of David? All the Jewish expectations have been that the Messiah must come from the house of David. So Samuel says, so we read a little while ago. The house of David, and your kingdom will stand forever. From that house comes the Messiah. Greetings, favored one, Gabriel says. Favored, selected, deliberate. This is a deliberate experience from Gabriel to Mary, from God to human beings. The Lord is with you. I don't know if you memorize Psalms, but a lot of us have memorized Psalms. The 23rd Psalm, except for some of the millennials, when I go to funerals, except for some of the millennials, everybody seems to know the 23rd Psalm. And perhaps the millennials will learn it as they go along, but they can always look on their cell phones and look it up and say it along with us. In those days, there were no cell phones, and memorization was one of the things that the people did. They memorized. They knew the Psalms. They knew them by heart. The Lord is with you, Psalm 27, at least occurred to those who were writing this down, but maybe also, hopefully also to Mary. Psalm 27, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Of whom shall I be afraid? The Lord is a stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? It's easy to say that. It's easy to remember it. But in Hebrew, it's even more important for us because the Hebrew will read, the Lord is my light and my Yeshua. Yeshua, my Jesus. The Lord is my light and my Jesus. Oh, how wonderfully, wonderfully enigmatic it is to hear that psalm. For Mary to perhaps have thought that psalm when the Angel Gabriel says, "Greetings, favored one. The Lord is my light and my Yeshua, my salvation. Of whom shall I be afraid?" Note, Mary's not afraid of Gabriel. Isn't that interesting? When you look at this story, it's so interesting. It's not Mary's afraid of the angel. And by the way, you're all thinking, like everybody has after the Renaissance, that this angel is standing there with these huge, huge wings, flapping perhaps in the breeze or whatever else. Not so. We don't see wings on angels until after the 3rd century in some of the catacombs in Rome. Angels, like the Old Testament angels, and this is certainly a related story to Old Testament expectations, angels were just people who came and talked. She's not alarmed at this angel, not at all. She's not alarmed at anything that's going on except the words. It's the words that are perplexing to her. What sort of greeting is this? I always look at this and say to myself, even an angel, what would you say? Greetings to somebody you haven't met before? Hail Mary is probably more familiar to a whole lot of us. Hail Mary, and that's another good translation. It's a little bit more than hi, right? A little bit more than the familiar hi. It's more professional, more respectful. Because remember, Mary's probably, 15 years old? And there's an angel standing there with her. Greetings, Hail Mary. How would you address Mary if you were responsible for bringing her the word? What would you say? Yo, what's happening? Plenty is happening. A baby is happening. A holy baby is happening. Jesus, which means the Lord saves. Yeshua, salvation. The Lord saves. Gabriel says to Mary, "He will be great. The son of El Elyon," again, a reference to that Old Testament, the power of God. God Most High, El Elyon, God Most High is making this happen. And he will be the son of David. But Mary says, how can this be happening? How can this be happening? I'm only a young girl. Mary, did you know your little boy, your little boy? Mary, did you know your little boy, your little boy? The parents of Sophia and Kaylee to be baptized today, do they know? Do they know what's in store for these children? Do they know what's happening? Do they know what God has in store through them with the family? Mary, did you know? Did you know your girls would be holy? That baptism is that sign that we celebrate in the church, an outward sign of an inward grace bestowed by God through our faith in Jesus Christ. Did you know? Gabriel says to Mary, the Holy Spirit will come over you. The power of the Most High will cast a shadow over you. Holy is the word we use for set apart. Mary, you've been set apart. Mary, your child, set apart. Mary, to fulfill God's purposes. You can sense in the text, there's a pause. You can sense it. Gabriel's looking at Mary. So what do you think? And there's a pause. And there inserted is Gabriel saying, well, Elizabeth is pregnant too. You know, he's offering a suggestion to Mary, isn't he? God can do marvelous things. There's Elizabeth, who was considered to be barren, without children. Oh, what a tragedy it's been for the family. But now she has a child. Now the child, John, is 6 months old. Nothing will be impossible for God. Do you hint? Do you hear the hint of resurrection? Nothing will be impossible for God. And Mary says finally, here am I. Remember in 2 Samuel, I will make you a great name. Here am I. The servant of the Lord, Remember in 2 Samuel, I will establish your house forever. Mary said, let it be with me according to your word. And remember, I will be with you wherever you go. Mary, did you know your little child, your little child, your little child? Mary, did you know your little child will be the great I am?